Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Olivet City Council at the 1140 Dillman Road, April 8th, 2025, 7:01 PM. Madam Clerk, please do roll.
Mayor Waldman,
I am here.
Chairman Pro Tem Knox.
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Weil,
Here.
and Councilmember Solomonov is absent with excuse.
Thank you so much. Next, we have communications. Do we have anybody from the parks here in representation? All right. With that, we have a park liaison council member here. This is a proclamation declaring International Dark Sky Week in Olivet. And we will present this to the park director, and they will hang it where they feel it would be best appreciated. It is declaring the International Dark Sky Week in Olivet, and that is at Stacy Park, where dark sky is currently recognized. Do you want to, is there anything that you want to share with regard to the current park board and dark sky?
Well, I saw the director out on the parking lot. They weren't feeling so well, so they were unable to be here to accept it. But the Dark Sky program is one that we're proud of, and we're one of the few communities to observe it and to do it. So it's very exciting. And we'll probably, I'm sure there's going to be information being sent out with in the communications explaining what Dark Skies is, or
In which communications?
did it went into the week, or I guess this is, so.
Oh, yeah, so the week is towards the end of April,
Right.
right? And so we're doing it now so that we've already done it. And I think, yeah, Beverly has some things
Okay.
planned to talk about it.
Yes, and I think there's some activities that will go along with it that week, was my understanding. So we have a meeting next Wednesday, and at that point, we can share it with the commission. So thank you.
And then we also have our communications manager that will push information out as well. So thank you for that. Next on the agenda is the city manager's report. Ms. Yackley.
Good evening. Let me get my PowerPoint ready. Yes? All right, good evening, everyone. So as this is the first meeting of the month, that's very odd. Let me try sharing it again.
Technology today.
Because you should be seeing what I'm seeing. Try this. Share. Now you know this is happening because this is the one meeting that Darren is not at.
We are patient and we know that we'll get it. We know we'll get it.
On the PC. Okay, let me try sharing something else to see if it's PowerPoint or if it is something else. So let's do. Okay, I'm just gonna do something random. No, okay. Then if you don't mind doing my report a little bit later, and I can call Darren. Because of course this is the
Okay,
one time it has.
so while you are doing that, I will move down to item number 4, which is city council reports. Would that be all right?
That would be great. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
great. All right. We're gonna go to item number 4, which is city council reports. I will look to my left, you are right, to my fellow council member, Councilmember Clark.
I have nothing to report at this
You
time.
have nothing to report at this time. Pro Tem Knox.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, and Council Member Weil.
I have a parks meeting next week, so therefore I already shared.
Kind
the
of shared
previous
some
one.
information from the previous one. All right. And my report is related to the Planning Community Design Commission meeting that occurred last week. Conversation was with regards to 820 North Price and accessory structure. That conversation continues amongst the board. The gentleman did bring some modifications to the body, and ongoing discussions are occurring. The meeting went rather lengthy in going over homes and 820 North Price, that they did not get to the tree preservation conversation. That tree preservation was supposed to be on our agenda. However, due to the fact that they could not would not and should not go beyond 10 o'clock. They held off the tree preservation till the next meeting on the 17th. And then if they make a recommendation, that will come to the council for first reading on the 22nd of April. Okay, all righty. And with that, I will turn back to the city manager and say, are we ready and able to go to the city manager's report?
I believe so. It
All-
just took texting him
All
and he
right.
hasn't responded.
But it looks like you got it on your own. All
You
right.
know what? It's just been one of those days. All right. So as I was saying, because it is the first meeting of the month, it is the Olive Crossing report to the council. Okay, so lot 3, this is the multi-tenant retail commercial space right at the corner there. It's the same space where we are expecting Brass Taps and Paris Baguette to be located. The preliminary work is underway, and we should start to see main construction, as in we should start to see things coming out of the ground in mid-April. So this is consistent with what Mr. Yowitz has reported to the council at the last meeting. And just to remind you, the construction of Lot 3 also includes the completion of the public plaza area, as well as that detention basin that's right along that ramped onto Interstate 170. Lot 5 is the office, and there is not an update for that as of yet. Lot 6 is the hotel. They are working with O'Reilly Hospitality to help get this project off the ground. And they continue to work with contractors and other financing sources to put the entire financing stack together to get the hotel moving forward. And then lots 1 and 2, this is the Aldi. So that has been completed. And they have also put in some internal stop signs at the Aldi. They recognized that people unfortunately were not yielding to the traffic on that east-west internal road between Aldi and the apartments. So there are now stop signs there. And then lot 4 is that apartment complex. And as of February, it was 90% leased and 85% occupied. So I would expect that those leases are continuing to go up or at least hold steady. And then upcoming events, tomorrow is Coffee with the Mayor at 5 Oaks. It starts at 8:45 in the morning. And so we invite everybody to come out. The guest for this month is the Olivet City Council. They will be there to talk about the past year, talk about the things that have been notable to them in the community over the past year. It is also Mayor Waldman's final Coffee with the Mayor. It's also Councilmember Knox's final Coffee with the Mayor. So we would invite the community out, 1, to meet your council members, and 2, to wish Mayor Waldman and Councilmember Knox, congratulations on having their Tuesdays back. The ever popular annual large bulk collection is going to start the week of April 21st through April 25th. So this is putting large items out at your curbside. It is important to note that this does not include appliances, but if you have furniture or other things in your house that you no longer need, you can put them out April 21st through April 25th. If you need more information, that's provided on the city's website, or you can use the QR code and it will take you to that page as well. The police department is participating in the DEA National Drug Take Back. That's Saturday, April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at the city center. Bring any over-the-counter prescription meds, even pet prescriptions that you have. They will all be taken and then appropriately destroyed. And if you cannot make that morning or in that particular day, we do have a secure drop box here at City Center that's available anytime that the City Center is open for individuals to bring their medications here. And then very beginning of May is the Centennial Greenway opening celebration. So that's May 3rd from 9 to 11. Remarks will begin at 9:15 at 5 Oaks on Worson. So we invite the community to come out and celebrate the latest portion of the Centennial Greenway. And then Party in the Park is Friday, May 9th at Stacy Park from 5 to 8. The Parks and Rec Commission is celebrating 60 years, and so it is a 60s themed party. So we invite everybody to come out. There'll be music and games and food. And so we, again, invite everybody to come out and enjoy. And the citywide yard sale is May 17th and 18th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can participate in one day or you can participate in both days. You can have yard signs with a $20 deposit. You can get those at 5 Oaks. And so long as you register by 9 p.m. on Tuesday, May 13th, then you can be included on the yard sale maps. You can still hold a yard sale that weekend if for some reason you decide at the last minute, but you just won't be on the map. So if you'd like to register, you can follow the link on the screen or again, scan the QR code. And then I would invite everybody to sign up for the Olivet Weekly if you have not already done so. It comes out on Mondays and it provides a short description of things that are happening in the following week. And then here are your upcoming meetings for the next rest of April and the first couple of meetings in May. And with that, I can answer any questions you might have.
Does anybody have any questions of the city manager? No? All right. Thank you so much for your report today.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is hearing from citizens. I have one card here, and while I call the call card up, will you see if there is anyone that is online as well? Wilhelmina Shackelford. Let Wilhelmina go, and then you can come on up, okay?
After she's.
After Wilhelmina, you can come up and ask questions.
It-
Yeah, yeah.
That way we can record.
Yeah. And you'll have that opportunity. You will. Okay? But I'm under hearing from citizens and I gotta respect the card that was written first. Then I will allow audience and others. So go ahead. Please turn the mic on. No, the red light will, there you go. Identify yourself, your address, and then proceed.
Wilhelmina Shackelford, 9656 Huron. I want to talk about a conversation I had with Bruce McGregor. Okay, it took place Monday, March the 24th. I live in the Indian Meadows subdivision. I'm also a trustee in the subdivision, and I have a lot of communications with everybody with the city because I have a responsibility to the homeowners in the subdivision, so I'm always in communication about different issues. So I got a phone call, and I get phone calls all the time from the homeowners about a sewer lateral issue that one of the neighbors was having an issue. And I said, well, just call the city, they'll take care of it. And he said, I did call them. And he said, they have a $6,000 cap. I said, oh, no. He said, it's $9,000. I said, oh, they'll take care of it. He said, well, he told me it's $6,000. I said, well, let me just give him a call. So I called Bruce McGregor, whom I've talked to on several occasions, and I mentioned that I was calling about 1262 Kiowa about a sewer lateral issue. And he says, oh, we have a $6,000 cap. Immediately, I say, well, I said, he said that he called you. He said, what's his name? So I gave him the name. He said, oh, yeah, I talked to him. He's got a real odd situation with a pipe going down the side of his driveway. There's a hole at the end of his driveway that's been there for years. So I guess that's a part of it. And I said, yeah. I said, but he said, there's only $6,000. He said, yeah, that's a cap. I said, well, Bruce, I said, I recall when you made a proposal to the council that the cap be 6,000 and there's an additional 3,000. So he continued to talk about a 6,000. I said, no. I said, I was at the meeting and I know for a fact, as everybody else calls me, this particular person in the subdivision had a $9,000 sewer lateral issue. And she was really upset. And I said, call the city. She called, talked to Bruce, and she came up and said she didn't have $6,000. So I said, okay, I'll give him a call. But she came back to me. She said, no, don't call him. Don't call him. I said, well, what happened? She said, well, he said he's going to try to work something out so that it can get taken care of. He's going to present something to the council. I said, oh, okay. So I got online to listen to it. I mean, I came up here to listen to it, and I surely saw him present it. I also brought a copy of it. March the 23rd, 2023. He presented this to the council and it was approved. So in the midst of our conversation, when I said that to him, I said, well, what about her? I said, you approved hers. He said, well, that was a special situation and the city manager approved it. I said, well, Bruce, if she approved hers, she should approve his. Oh, you stay out of it. You stay out of it. I know what I'm doing. I said, yeah, but no, I don't want you. I say, that's my godson. I said, and he's a resident in the subdivision. So of course I'm going to see and try to find out how I can help. Well, I don't need a monkey in the middle. I said, monkey? You calling me a monkey? Oh, I said, I'm not a monkey. I said, whatever you do for her, you got to do it for him. Be fair to people. She is a single white female, and the person I'm calling for was a single black female. And I did the same for both. So I said, you have to do the same thing. If you do it for one, you got to do it for the other. Well, maybe I can work out this two-tier thing. So whatever that system is, but I'm up here to talk about the fact that he called me a monkey, which is the most derogatory word that you can use to another black person. So I have a couple of questions because I immediately said back, I said, well, maybe he'll call me and say, I really didn't mean it, Wilhelmina. You know, I'm having a bad day. I got nothing. So I immediately sent a few texts out. I called one of the council members, sent a text to the mayor. They said that they spoke to the city manager. I never heard anything from anybody. So I want to know, is this the climate that's created that people can just talk to us any kind of way? I'm a taxpayer, so I know we pay the salaries, but they can just talk to people any kind of a way? There's no order or no rules here in Olivet, or he feels emboldened that he can just call me a monkey? I got some concerns that I want to know, what to expect going forward. Is this how we gonna communicate with each other from now on, calling each other out of our names instead of taking care of business?
No, that's not the way that we typically do business in Olivet. And I am the individual that texted you and informed you that we had our conversations and that this is a personal matter that is handled by the city. And I am, beyond that, that is what our role is, to bring things to the attention of the city manager and allow them to do what they feel appropriate and necessary. Well, I think we all agree that, better language could be used, and again, we can follow up with the city manager at a later time. I don't know what you would.
The only thing I would add is, I agree with the mayor's statement, right, that that's not appropriate language, but I cannot discuss personnel actions that were taken with a member of the public, and I certainly can't discuss it in a public meeting. So I'm very limited about what information I'm available to give to you, but I can tell you that the mayor and the mayor pro tem relayed your conversation with them to me on a Monday, and action was taken on Tuesday morning. So it was not ignored It's not appropriate, but I can't tell you more or be more specific about any type of personal action that was taken.
Okay, because I didn't get anything. I didn't hear anything from anybody, whether you divulged any, whatever was personal going on, I didn't get a word other than from the text that just said basically that they had spoken to you about it. And so I grew up in a corporate environment, so that would have went totally different. And in addition to how he spoke to me, I got a concern about how you treating the people here. Are you treating them fairly? If you're doing it for one, are you doing it for the other?
With regard to the
That's
sewer
another
lateral
concern.
issue, I will ask that, that be looked into. Historically, that situation occurred in 2023. And what I recall from the sewer lateral program was, yes, we have the cap of the 6,000. And what the difference was is that we no longer require the household to pay that $6,000 for us to reimburse them. We now work with paying directly to the contractor that does the job. So no money gets taken out of the homeowner's pocket to get that project done. Now, does Mr. McGregor maybe know another company that he could refer to that could say, we could do this entire project for the $6,000? Maybe that's something that he was, capable of attempting to do. But that is my recollection from the sewer lateral program when we talked about the diversity, equity, inclusion, and fairness to the community to the homeowners in our community. And that is what I recall we implemented. You no longer pay out of pocket. We pay it. These contractors know it. They're not coming to you. They come to us. But here's our process: lateral line cabling, bids, and then determination. That's what I recall. But if you could,
No, that's correct. Bruce, once it is cabled and whatever the problem is established, he develops a scope of work. And then a contractor is chosen, they do the work, and the city pays for that up to $6,000. And then if it happens to be more than $6,000, then the homeowner can pay for that. For this particular incident on Kiowa,
Yeah.
Mr. McGregor talked to me that what he's hoping to do is do 2 stages, right? And so the first part, get that fixed, and then stage a second scope of work to do the remaining work that needs to be done. And the last I talked to him, and I don't know if your godson,
Yeah.
is your godson,
Mm-hmm.
has gotten back to Mr. McGregor, but I think Mr. McGregor was waiting for, at the time that I spoke to him, for the owner to talk to him about, which of the 2 he wanted to do first. But again, it's been a week or 2 since I had
Yeah, I
talked to
think
him
he did
about that.
call him. He said he was on vacation because we communicate.
Mhm.
But I guess the point that I was making, because it says that, I know it was 80-20 before, where the homeowner paid 20%, the city paid 80. Most communities get 100% because they get it straight from St. Louis County. So that was a good thing to switch it over. But this says that it's increased to 6,000 and an additional 3,000 for properties that are exceptionally difficult. So
if you
who
want to
determines if it's
if you want to give
exceptionally
us that
difficult?
document, I will have the city manager look at the historical case that you are presenting.
Yeah. It's bill number 3,000. I pulled it off your
It's
website.
what?
I'll find
Bill
it.
number 3,000.
We'll find it.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, okay,
It's ordinance 2771.
okay.
So,
Okay.
like I said, like I said, I'm about fairness. So I wanted to make sure that you understood that this whole change came about because of one person. This whole project was changed, how you handle sewer lateral. And all I'm saying is if it was changed for that one person, then the other, anybody else that has a situation like that should receive the same treatment in all fairness.
Your concerns are heard.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank you.
before you sit down, okay?
Yes.
As a black man, I was equally offended. Now, you said that all you heard after you voiced your concerns, all you got was a text message. Did I not call you?
Yes, I'm sorry. You did call me. You
Okay,
did. He
I-
called me and told me to. You
Okay,
did.
I
I'm
just want to
sorry.
make sure that's on the
But
record.
I wanted them to know that it was responded to. You did respond to it.
Okay,
So,
I still love you. Okay.
And I just want to share, I personally had my sewer lateral done. And as a homeowner, I had to pay up front for having the cabling and have someone cable and film it. And then I had to give it to Bruce McGregor to show that we qualified for the program. And that was out of pocket. And then there was something additional we wanted because our basement kept getting flooded. We wanted some kind of a backflow, and that we had to pay the difference of that as well.
Yeah.
So, it's not like clear, it's not a clean, that you don't pay anything.
Yeah, I'm really familiar with the project because I've had the cameraman come in my basement based
okay.
on, from Olivet,
Right.
so, but they claim I wasn't qualified. So I'm familiar
This
with
wasn't
that.
from Olivet. I had to hire a company that Bruce McGregor gave us the name of who to call.
Okay, one more thing, AZZ is at it again, stronger than ever, so we will be back.
Yeah, I heard the noise today. Anyone else online? I don't see anyone else online at this point in time.
There's someone in the audience.
Yeah, right. I'm
there's no
going in
one
my
online.
order here. Uh, Not seeing anybody. Now, if there's anyone else in the audience would like to come up, go ahead. Yeah, that's okay. You're good.
Anyway, good evening, everyone. My name is Marie Twine, and I live at 1212 Ottawa Lane. And my question is, just out of curiosity, I pass up and down Olive Street, often, and I don't know, Jennifer, whether you addressed on your map what the building is that if you turned into the Chevy, that building, the restaurant. Now, I mean, you could turn into there and you could see this large building over there. I'm just wondering what that building is.
You mean behind Chevy's and behind
Yes.
CVS? That's the new apartments, Irvington Rhyme or Irvington Place Apartments.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I need clarification on that because, see, I passed it and nobody can tell me or address, what that is.
Yep, that's what that is.
Okay, I have one other question. Okay, as far as the lateral is concerned, suppose, okay, you're willing to pay the $6,000. Suppose the person cannot afford to pay the additional amount of money, then who would be responsible for that? Do you stop working? Or what do you do? I don't have the problem, but I'm just concerned about people, may not have the additional money to pay for the lateral repair.
So now I was not here in 2023 in, March when things were changed.
And we
right?
increase it to
But
$6,000 as well.
My suspicion
Mm-hmm.
is it was set at $6,000 because most sewer lateral repairs would be less than that, right? And then you have rare occasions where sewer laterals, many of the homes in Olivet are very 50, 60 years old,
Mhm.
and builders were putting in sewer laterals, and I've seen party line sewer laterals. I mean, there's a rare instance that it would be above 6,000. That's what I suspect. That's what we did when I have administered other sewer lateral programs, is you get a sense for the average and you set your reimbursement so that the majority of your cases are going to be less than your cap. And then I think we would work with them, either stage it so that it would be multiple sewer lateral applications, and write the scopes of work accordingly.
Oh, okay, because you had mentioned that if it goes beyond the $6,000, then the person would be responsible for the additional payment.
Typically it is, right? If they want things that are not covered by the sewer lateral, if it's $6,500, if they want a clean out put in. But again, it's gonna be a rare, the expectation is that the resident is going to pay for that extra 6,000, but again, we're gonna take the scope of the situation,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
and look at it from that perspective. So I can't give you a definite, right? I can give you what is standard practice and what policy says, which is that the cap is 6,000 and above that is the responsibility of the homeowner, right? But
Okay.
again, we look at them in totality.
Okay, you've
Okay.
answered my questions. Thank you.
Sure. And part of when we did relook at that policy, the limit at that time was $3,500. And it was the fact that we were seeing bids and costs coming in higher than that 3,500, that the council made the decision to increase it to $6,000 and to say, no, you're not paying that out of pocket. It will come to the city and the city will work with the vendor and provide that reimbursement. But when a special or extenuating circumstances, if, you know, if you could just take a look at that, that would be great. Appreciate it. All right, that is hearing from citizens. The next item on the agenda is a review in the acceptance of minutes, accepting the meeting minutes of March 25th and the work session of April 1st, 2025. I saw nothing, but I don't know if my peers did.
I didn't see any.
All right, if that's the case, I will accept acknowledgement of the meeting minutes motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes as written for March 25th, 2025 as written,
And April 1st.
and
work
April
session,
1st,
Work
work
session.
session, 2025.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Knox,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the fastest going from one hearing from citizens to the second hearing from citizens. We are now at a second portion of hearing from citizens. Would anybody like to come up and speak to the council on any issue of concern or interest? Seeing none, seeing nobody, okay. Well, hold on, let me yeah. Let me allow a new speaker before you come up, but please go ahead and stay. Go ahead. No. Okay, hold on. Let her start and you get on the mic. I don't want people not to hear what you're saying. All right, hit that, the red light's on. You don't have to hit the
Red
button.
lights on. Hi, everybody. I'm Elise Barnes. I live at 9650 La Jolla, a 33-year resident of the subdivision, past trustee. While we're talking about sewer laterals, I have a concern and I would like to revisit this momentarily. I had my sewer lateral done December of 22. Paid out of pocket. It didn't exceed $4,000, but I paid 20% of that. Now, when was it effective that they pay up to a certain amount of money? I paid out of pocket, had to be reimbursed, paid for the cameras, everything, struggled to pay that money out of my pocket and had to pay the 20%. So if these
So
changes
my
came
unders-
about
my-
March,
Would be March of 2023 if the bill
according
is
to,
correct.
according to
Correct.
her notes.
Correct.
So that was just too bad for me. Is that what we're?
Yeah,
okay.
and me too. I've
Okay.
had two of them. You're right. And me
Okay.
too for two homes. You're
Okay.
right. I paid for the cabling and
You
had to
did
pay a
everything.
little more for it. It again was one of those policies. The council was beginning its review of diversity, equity, inclusion. And I'd like to remind the
Okay.
council that there's a B in that for belonging. And
Okay.
hope that that gets a part of
Okay.
what moves forward. But yes, unfortunately, you and I
Okay.
did not get that because that was the policy at the
that
time.
point, okay, so
Right.
it was effective March.
It was effective in
That's-
2023.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
okay, yeah,
just wanted clarification on that.
sure, sure. And what I'm gonna
Okay.
ask is, would you, Jennifer, please give her a card that she can fill that out and just identify that the question was with regard to sewer lateral policy? Okay,
Thank you.
all righty, thank you so much. All right, Ms. Shackelford. And then you will
All right.
fill out
I-
a card as well? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm updating on AZZ because we came last year before the council about all of the disturbances and everything. And we followed all of the instructions of staying with the county, going to the county. We went out to the county, spoke before the council, sent them letters, even talked to, the county, what is he called? The county manager? You know what I'm talking about, Sam. So we talked to him and he put us with Dr. Cunningham, and they got everybody from all of the different boards to pollution and everybody. We had one big, huge meeting, and they told us that there was a violation, and plus we were talking to the state. The state said they were in violation, and they could not start back until they got some kind of approval. So, and I guess that was last year, so we haven't had any noise. We didn't know what was going on when we go look at the factory. At one point, they said it was fairly empty. There was something that was broken that was supposed to be repaired that was causing all the noise. Obviously, it didn't get repaired because the noise is just coming back just ridiculous. And it just started, I guess, the last couple of weeks or so. But it's just going continuously all night long. So there's a lot of people that have been complaining. So we back at the same place we are. And we did that because you guys said it's St. Louis County, but we need the city of Olivet to work for the residents in Olivet with that issue. Because we've done all the research. We know that everything over there is just environmentally unhealthy. It's a dump over there. That plant, that Superfund plant, all of that's right there in the same area, killing everybody, making everybody sick. Sick with the noise, you get effects from the noise and everything. So they will be up here. But I'm just saying, whatever you guys can think about a brainstorm on to help us with that plant. It's just horrible. And I don't know if cutting the trees down made a difference because it's even louder and they may have been a sound barrier because those were very large trees and now they're gone. And we hear extreme noise. So that's what I wanted to say.
All righty, we'll wait to hear more from you. And yes, I did begin to hear the scraping this afternoon. I do understand that they were shut down for the repairs, and your course of action is again going back to St. Louis County and dealing with their pollution board, and continue to make your concerns expressed to them again, because that is St. Louis County.
Yeah, they're not doing much.
Okay, well, keep
You
reporting
know.
back to us and let's see what we can do in communications and effort.
All right.
Okay.
There is.
All right, we are at the second portion of hearing from citizens, and there is a resident online. If you would like to speak during the second portion of hearing from citizens, please raise your hand and you will be acknowledged and moved over. All righty, do that appear to be of interest to raise your hand and bring in a topic or an issue to us at hearing from citizens? We'll go to item number 8, which is the city attorney's report. Good evening, Ms. Carr. How are you?
Good evening. I have no report this evening, but we do have a closed session, and I would like to point out that in addition to subsection 1 and 2, that I would also ask that subsection 12 related to a negotiated contract be added.
All right, so what I'm seeing here right now is pursuant to 1, 2, 3, and 12. Is that what you're wanting? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to 610.1.021, 1, 2, 3, and 12. I will entertain that motion. Who wants to motion it? Right down here, number 9. Move to go into closed session pursuant to the revised statutes of the state of Missouri to discuss attorney-client privilege.
I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to revised statute of the state of Missouri to discuss attorney-client privilege matters pursuant to section 610.021.
Point 1.
Point 1.
Real estate matters.
And then real estate matters, section 610.021.2, and personnel matters pursuant to sections 610.01.3.
And negotiations pursuant to 610.021.12.
Yes.
I will entertain a second.
I'll second that.
Motion and seconded. Please do a roll call.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Weil,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Knox,
Yes.
Mayor Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go into the back pursuant to our executive board chairman.